the
case.
baby.
Adding
With
the
the baby.
140mm Noctua
I
fan
want to
in
know
front
who
of the
she
CPU
is.
cooler
No,
created a
not
positive
like you.
pressure inside the case, which meant that the cooler would now receive air only from the intake fans, as opposed to drafting it independently through the top vents, which were only a couple inches away from the CPU tower fan. Because of the extremely close to the front panel, the intake fans probably recirculate some warm air from inside the case, raising the CPU temperature. To verify this, we did more tests with the top vent case shut, and by the time we were done with everything, we've done more than 12 tests.
All over your daddy.
Now, starting with the 275 bar only torture testing, our CPU torture test averaged 55 degrees Celsius over ambient temperature with the stock configuration. Taking the front panel off lowered this to 50.2 degrees Celsius delta T over ambient, as expected, and that's not the worst delta for a panelist test that we've ever seen, so really not too critical here. A couple degrees, 5 degrees is certainly decent, but it's not like 10 as we've seen on some other cases. Corsair's panel isn't as much of a limiter as its stock fan configuration is here, but it certainly isn't helping. As mentioned before, adding an extra fan actually raised this temperature to 58.8 degrees Celsius over ambient in one test, and 58.9 degrees in another. Saw consistency. We knew that taping the case shut would make temperatures warmer overall. Once our theory was true, it would flip the order of results, and the test with an additional fan would be cooler. Taping the top shut in stock configuration raised the CPU temperature from 55 to 61.4 degrees. With the extra fan in place, taping the top shut had barely any effect, and the temperature only grew or increased by 0.1 degrees over the stock test. That's well within margin of error. A vertical GPU orientation also resulted in a 58.8 degrees Celsius delta T, with warm air dumped out of the GPU cooler and into the CPU above, partly radiative heat off the backside and partly the open face design spewing air into the glass. So before we get into the comparative chart for CPU thermals, just to make that perfectly clear, basically what we found with our very specific configuration, this is not universally true. Case testing is the least scientific of all testing because there are a million variables. So with that said, with our specific configuration, a 140mm fan here didn't really help anything for CPU thermals. And we strongly believe that the reason for this, after taping off the top and doing additional validation runs, is that the CPU tower cooler is so close to this top vent that it's able to just pull air in through the outside and shoot it out the back as expected. When we put the Noctua fan here, what's happening is the pressure going into the case now exceeds the pressure going out of the case. We have a positive pressure setup. The air from the front is partly coming out of the top on its own, and some of that's making the CPU cooler. The CPU cooler is no longer drawing air externally. That's our hypothesis. Additionally, we believe that the open face cooler on the card, spoken from experience, is pushing some of its warmed air into the power supply shroud. We found that these shrouded cases do have the impact of increasing GPU temperature. It pushes its air into the shroud. That air will get recirculated because it has to get out of the case. And unless it's getting out through the minimal amount of cracks in the I/O covers in the back, the expansion slot covers, what it's doing ultimately is getting pulled back up through the CPU fan and pushed out the back of the case. So that's what we think is happening. Comparatively, for CPU temperature, 55 degrees Celsius is approximately what CPU temperature was in the 270R with the case fans running at 1050 RPM, but running them at full speed, like we do with all of our stock tests, that lowered the temperature in the 270R to 52.8 degrees. The 275R and 270R are not significantly different in thermal performance from one another generally, but when we increase the fan speeds to max on each, we are seeing some difference. The fans do run at the same RPM spec. The View 71 and S240 Elite are also around this temperature range, but the similarly priced Metrify C and cheaper plastic-sided Redline 06 are both cooler. GPU temperature was 57.1 degrees in the torture test with a best case delta T of 53.3 degrees with the front panel removed. As with the CPU, adding an additional fan raised the temperature to 57.8 and 58.4 in two tests. Although the increase is smaller and therefore less conclusive, existing within error margins, there is somewhat of an increase that we saw a couple of times. With the top taped shut and in stock configuration, GPU temperature actually drops to 55 degrees, exiting margin of error. And that establishes that the pressure patterns in the case with our specific cooler and video card created the behaviors we saw elsewhere. Temperature also increased back to 58.1 degrees Celsius with a margin of error of stock baseline, with the additional fan added back in. GPU temperatures are already difficult to compare thanks to frequency boosting, but there are also some very specific airflow and pressure patterns at work here, and they're affecting results in some ways that are very subtle. What we can say for sure is that our system is behaving in a way that is influenced by the pressure almost more than that extra fan, and that's going to depend on which fan you use as well, naturally. Mounting the GPU vertically resulted in a comically high temperature of 69.7 degrees Celsius over ambient, which was almost a welcome return to sanity. No matter what, vertical GPU mounts suck for open-face cards. Accounting for ambient, that puts us into the 90s, and GPU throttling hits hard at 84C, and again at 60 degrees Celsius, so we're well above both of those numbers. Comparatively, the baseline 57.1 degree measurement is much warmer than the 270R's 51.6 degrees, and more comparable to the PureBase 600's best results for the InWin 805i. It's on the warm end of the chart, definitely, but doesn't cause the runaway thermals we see with, for example, vertically mounted GPUs. Corsair's previous case is performing better for our configuration with GPU cooling, which we believe to be a factor of the front panel changes primarily, and the very significant power supply shroud change, elongating it, and the latter is more likely to impact GPU performance heavily. The 275R landed at the high end of our 3D Mark results with a GPU temperature of 60.1 degrees Celsius. That's in between the BitPhoenix Enso and Fractal's 2 C-Series cases, which ship with a similar fan layout. Cases with full shrouds that rely on a single intake fan to push air above and below the GPU tend to do poorly with GPU cooling in our tests, but a case like the Mesh of IC can scale up performance with additional fans better because it does have that mesh front, despite being not perfectly flat. Rendering with Blender on the CPU temperature during the test was 39 degrees Celsius. That's average, equal to the Dark Base Pro 900 and between the KL07 to H500P, neither of which were cases we praised for cooling. The Meshify and Define C cases were slightly warmer than the 275R here. Rendering on the GPU temperature during the test was 29.6 degrees Celsius. That's close to the Define R6, a case with one more fan, but it's also pretty close to the H500D and stock Meshify C again, but cooler than the stock Define C for once. And finally, for noise, 37.4 dBA is on the same level as the spec 04 and 270R with the stock fan configuration at max speeds, both fellow Corsair cases with 120mm front-mounted fans. The front panel may be sealed, but it's still made of thin plastic with moving gaps on either side. More fans added to the front of this case means more air trying to rush through those narrow gaps, which also means more noise. Like the Silverstone PM02 that we just reviewed, the Corsair 275R needs to justify its existence against its own predecessor. This is a matter of Corsair battling themselves, as Silverstone just did. For the 270R, in the conclusion of our review, what we said was this. Based on its $60 to $70 price point and assertive posture against nearby competition, we awarded it an Editor's Choice Award, and we went on to use it in our November budget build in 2017 and accidentally in 2016 as well. Both years. We didn't mean to use the same case, but we did because the value was really good. And 2017 it was down to $50. And even now, it's 60-ish. This case is $80. The acrylic version is $70. The acrylic version changes even less, obviously, than this one does from the 275R. The change at that point is this. It's not even just this. It's this. It's the whole. What you're getting for $10 more is less plastic, basically, or metal meshing or whatever. Other than that, it's relocated I/O and a slightly longer power supply shroud. These are not things that you spend extra money for over the 270R, which is still a great case. We still recommend it highly. So, all that said then, where does the 275R stack up? Well, Corsair has a history of dropping their case prices slowly over time, as most companies do, and over the course of the next year, we wouldn't be surprised to see this case fall by another $10. If it does, it has now become the 270R. And if that case stops production or maintains the same price, it'd be worth buying one of these, I suppose. But at $80 for the tempered glass version, there are a lot of cases in that price range that can boast tempered glass now, if that's what we really want. So this is becoming a trend now with our last few reviews for cases. Basically, what it comes down to is how much do you like the look of this case versus other cases in the same price range. If you have your heart set on this case and you really like it, There is nothing comically bad about it, like with other cases we've reviewed in the past year. It's not bad. The case itself is fine. It has a few things we didn't like. Obviously, the tempered glass can be the butt of a joke. But realistically, you're not removing the glass that much. As much as I hate the way it's installed and detest the choices to use the screws and the grommets they did, it's not that big of a deal. So, playing it up, yes, but that's not a big deal. So then, ultimately, there's nothing terribly wrong with it. The cooling's not great. It's okay. If you're building an $80 case, you're probably building with budget components. You're not worrying about a 1080 Ti's worth of heat. You're not worrying about an 8700K's worth of heat. So you have less thermal concern in that department, which means that this configuration may well be fine for the system you're building. If you're building something that's higher end, then probably add fans to it. Just know that with any case that has a panel like this, obviously you're going to run into limitations. But this case is just fine. So that's kind of the trend lately. It's okay. We'd like to see it cheaper. It's odd that Corsair is competing against their 270R in some ways because it is really a good case at its price, and that's why it's good. The 270R is specifically good because of its price. This loses that. So, at $80, we wouldn't necessarily recommend it unless you really like it, in which case, it's fine. Don't feel bad about buying it. But, if you want to look at other options, there are things that do everything a little bit better. The RL06, once again, is the best cooling in its class, and is actually a little bit cheaper. Just realized that. It's like $10 cheaper. The other options, Corsair's own 400C, if you're willing to spend about $10 more, that's a great case. It works pretty well thermally from our testing. It has some build features and ease of installation features we like a lot, and it's just a bit more expensive. There are plenty of other options as well. We have them in the charts if you're interested in them, or check Patrick's written review in the article below, where we'll have a couple of extra discussion points on this case and its competition. So that's all for this one. Basically, it's okay. And subscribe for more. As always, go to store.gamersexes.net to pick up a shirt like this one. This is the GN 10-year anniversary edition shirt. And I'll see you all next time.
Aren't the ones who did this? I understand now. You must find Kotalos. You must put a stop to this.
Welcome back to Harbour Unboxed. Today we're checking out the new ASRock Desk Mini, which is a little confusing because it is called the Desk Mini, as I just said, and that was the same name as the previous model and then the model before it. So this is the third Desk Mini. So you sort of have to pay attention to the numbers or letters that sort of go before or after. It's just referred to as the Desk Mini, but the first version was the Desk Mini 110, and it featured the H110 chipset supporting 6th and 7th Gen core processors in a tiny 1.92 litre case. The Desk Mini 110 was so small, in fact, that it couldn't actually support a discrete graphics card, so that basically made an office-type PC. Then we got the Desk Mini GTX RX, which featured a stretched out micro STX motherboard packing either the B250 or Z270 chipset, and it also allowed for an MXM discrete mobile GPU to be installed. This increased the capacity though to 2.7 litres, though admittedly it was still very compact. Now, we have the new Desk Mini GTX RX. Yep, the new 8th gen model has the same name, so it's a bit confusing. To get around this issue, retailers are putting the chipset name in the title to make it easier for consumers to work out which model they're actually buying. This means the latest version is known as the Desk Mini Z370, and it comes with either an MXM form factor GTX 1060 or GTX 1080 pre-installed. Alternatively though, you can buy it without a discrete graphics card installed, but be aware buying these MXM graphics cards is really next to impossible as they're not sold at retail. Generally speaking, you can only buy them from salvage laptops, and that makes them extremely rare. Currently, there doesn't actually appear to be any Desk Mini Z370 models on sale, but ASRock says the MSRP for the 1060 model we have here is $850 US. The previous generation B250 models are on sale, and the GTX 1060 version costs a cool $800 US, and then with the GTX 1080 you can expect to pay something like $1,500 US. So that makes the new Z370 models slightly more expensive, but overall a $50 increase for the GTX 1060 model seems very reasonable. Still, $850 US for this little PC is pretty expensive. So what else do you get with the Desk Mini Z370? Included in the package, along with the tiny 2.7 litre case, is a 220 watt external power brick, which I should note is very large, with a volume of 0.7 litres. So that's 26% of the Desk Mini's total size. Along with the case and power supply, you also get a custom Z370M STX MXM motherboard that's 2 inches longer than your typical micro STX motherboard. And this extra real estate has been used to squeeze in an MXM slot supporting up to Type B Plus cards at 113mm long. Because we have the GTX 1060 model, ours naturally came with the GTX 1060 MXM graphics card pre-installed. In order to get up and running, you'll need to bring your own Coffee Lake CPU, a sodium DDR4 memory, and of course some storage. Assuming we went with the Core i5-8400, they're about $180 US, 16GB of DDR4 2400 memory, you'd expect to pay about $170 US for that, and say a 512GB Samsung 960 Pro, they're about $300, then you'd be looking at pitching in probably about $650 US to complete this system, and that would bring the total bill for the Desk Mini GTX 1060 model to about $1,450 US. That's probably not that bad. I know it does sound very expensive, but you can expect to pay about $400 US alone for a GTX 1060 6GB graphics card. So overall, might not be too bad in terms of value, but I will discuss the value aspect of the Desk Mini GTX 1060 Z370 towards the end of the review. For now, we'll take a look around the unit and then a bit of a look at the hardware inside before getting onto some benchmarks. Externally, it looks sleek. The all-black case features a brushed aluminium front with clean lines. The circular power button blends in nicely, as does the front I/O, which includes 2 3.5mm audio jacks, along with a Type A and Type C USB 3.1 Gen 1 port. Then, around the back, you get 4 USB 3.1 Type A ports, a HDMI output which is connected to the integrated GPU within the Intel CPU, and a gigabit LAN connection. Also connected to the GTX 1060 is a DisplayPort, mini DisplayPort, and HDMI output. Then on the side, or I suppose the top, depending on how you orient the case, are another 2 USB ports, though these are older 2.0 ports. Still, they are handy for connecting things such as your keyboard and mouse, for example. Removing the top panel grants you access to the CPU socket, which sits directly next to the pre-installed MXM graphics card. Then the motherboard tray slides out of the case, and once you remove the front I/O cables, you can completely remove the tray and install your storage devices on the back side of the motherboard. Here you'll also find the Z370 chipset, which is cooled via a very small silver heatsink, and the CMOS battery as well. However, the interesting stuff includes 3, and I'll repeat, 3 M.2 Ultra ports that are all PCIe 3.0 x4 capable and support 2260 or 2280 cards. There's also an M.2 Wi-Fi port as well, and this can take advantage of the included Wi-Fi card, though be aware you do have to install this yourself. Along with the plethora of M.2 ports, you can also squeeze in a pair of 2.5-inch SATA 60ms drives in the underside of the Desk Mini. Pretty incredible. Then on the front side of the motherboard, we get the Realtek ALC 233 codec with the Intel i219B gigabit Ethernet controller. Delivering power to the CPU is a 5+1 phase variant, which is surprisingly capable, though ASRock has limited support for processors with a 65 watt TDP rating. The VRM heatsinks are very tiny, though I found in my testing they do a surprisingly good job, and with the IR gun I never measured temperatures over 40 degrees, even when pushing everything to its limits. For testing, we've installed a Core i7-8700 processor, a pair of Team Group's DDR4 2400 8GB memory, and for storage 2 ADATA XPG Gamix S10 NVMe SSDs. Mouthful there. Sadly though, I only have the 128GB models for these SSDs, and I don't recommend you purchase those models. They're actually quite poor value in terms of cost per gigabyte and the performance they offer. I recommend you get the 256GB versions, as they are significantly better value. Anyway, installing all this hardware was relatively quick and easy. By default, you'll be forced to use the Intel box cooler, which is a bit of a shame. There is limited headroom there, so I'm not sure if there are aftermarket options such as the CryoRig C7 that'll fit. I'll have to get my hands on one of those and check shortly. When I find out, I'll let you guys know in the comment section below. I have one on order. Although I did test with the Core i7-8700, I also tried with the Core i5-8400. Honestly, I feel this is a better pairing for most users in this unit. It runs cooler and therefore quieter, and with the box cooler you can also get the most out of the CPU. Although it still runs within the Intel spec, the 8700 does enjoy a decent performance bump with a better cooler. At first I thought it was actually a power delivery issue, but as it turns out even the Core i7-8700K does run perfectly fine with an aftermarket cooler installed. I had to use a large tower style cooler, which of course doesn't fit inside the Desk Mini case, so I had to do my testing with the top panel removed, but I just wanted to see if we were thermal or power limited here, and it turns out we're thermal limited. By default, the Desk Mini is configured with a maximum sustained boost turbo power draw of just 65 watts, with a 1 second turbo boost short power peak of 81 watts. ASRock hasn't done this to save their teeny tiny VRM, but instead limit thermal output to stop the Intel box cooler sounding like a jet engine. This limitation means that the 8700 can only produce a Cinebench R15 score of about 1140 points, which is around 20% lower than what you might expect to see in a desktop system with a $10 aftermarket cooler. If you don't care about operating volume, then you can increase these limits, though it only boosted the Cinebench R15 score by about 5%, while the operating volume increased significantly as the fan speed picked up from 2100 RPM to 3200 RPM when under load. After an hour-long stress test, the 8700 held a clock frequency of 3.5 GHz, whereas the 8400 with the same box cooler could maintain a 3.8 GHz operating frequency. So again, I'd recommend the 8400 over the 8700 for use in the ASRock Desk Mini. When it came to gaming, I benchmarked half a dozen titles, but before we get to the graphs, here's a quick look at some gameplay with on-screen statistics. Stock, the Desk Mini's GTX 1060 hovered around 1550 to 1600 MHz and peaked at 72 degrees, which is a bit on the warm side. The CPU really isn't heavily utilised in this test, so it was able to maintain an operating frequency of 4.3 GHz, though the temps were often very high, getting up around 82 degrees at times. Now, when I overclocked, overclock probably isn't the right term to use here since this is a locked CPU. The GPU was overclocked, but the CPU was really tweaked or tuned to remove some of the limits that the ASRock motherboard imposes. So anyway, with those limits removed and then the GPU overclocked, we pushed the core up to about 1.7 GHz at maintained, and the memory was at 8.8 gigabits per second, up from 8 gigabits per second. We saw the CPU hit 82 degrees at times, but mostly sat around 70 degrees, as did the GPU. As you might have expected, the Desk Mini was quite loud when overclocked/tuned, and probably not worth the extra 5% bump in performance seen in this stress test. Anyway, moving on to some game benchmarks. So first up we have Battlefield 1, and here the Desk Mini had no trouble delivering highly playable performance at 1080p using the ultra quality preset. As expected, it was a bit slower than a desktop PC sporting the Founders Edition model. The 1% low figure was 12% lower, though the average frame rate was just 4% lower. And the reason for this, I believe, is that lower clocked DDR4 2400 memory, while the desktop system uses a Core i7-8700K, which is clocked at 5 GHz with DDR4 3200 memory. So keeping that in mind, the Desk Mini does actually do very well, and with a little tweaking is able to roughly match the desktop rig, which was great to see. Of course, custom board partner models such as the Gigabyte Aorus GTX 1060 6GB is a bit faster again, but overall the Desk Mini does do well. The Dirt 4 performance is very similar. Again, pairing the Desk Mini with faster DDR4 memory really helped boost the 1% low figure, and with a little extra tinkering we were getting full-blown desktop gaming PC performance. Here we see when testing with Ghost Recon Wildlands that stock, the Desk Mini does struggle quite a bit. Here it was 12% slower than the GTX 1060 Founders Gen card, which was tested in our test system. That said, faster memory and a little tweaking to the settings reduced that margin to just 5%. Moving on to Mass Effect Andromeda, here we see that the Desk Mini did trail by a small margin even when overclocked, or rather tweaked, with faster memory and a more aggressive power profile. It was a similar story when testing with Prey as well, but that said though, with over 60 FPS at all times using the highest quality settings at 1080p, it was hard to complain with the results. Out of the box, the Desk Mini looked quite weak in Titanfall 2, it has to be said, and I know that memory speed really helps with this title, so that DDR4 2400 memory would have been limiting performance here. As a result, we saw a rather large 12% uplift for the 1% low result. We're moving from 2400 to 3200 memory. Now, a big advantage of the ASRock Desk Mini is power consumption. That low output power brick really enables low power consumption at idle, just 30 watts in fact. Under load consumption did creep up there a bit, but it wasn't really that far from the power brick's 220 watt maximum output. That said, it did consume 20% less power than our test system using the GTX 1060 Founders Edition model. Okay, so we've taken a good look in and around the ASRock Desk Mini GTX 1060 Z370, and we've gotten a taste for how it performs in games. When it comes to non-gaming tasks, it's really going to be very capable, of course depending on what CPU you end up putting in there, but given how much this bare bone costs, anything slower or, say, cheaper than a Core i5-8400 really would be a poor choice. The Core i7-8700 offers loads of performance, but to get the most out of it you will need to upgrade the cooler, though I suspect your options will be very limited. For most, the difference between the Core i5-8400 and Core i7-8700 and the Desk Mini are going to be minimal, therefore I recommend going with the cheaper Core i5 model. ASRock says they're targeting LAN party goers, esports gamers and content creators with this new Desk Mini series. The tiny 2.7 litre capacity coupled with the GTX 1060 does make the Desk Mini ideal for gamers on the move, though these days I'd say that's probably a very niche market. Esports games are obviously very popular, but generally speaking, competitive gamers seek out the sort of maximum bang for their buck, and that makes the Desk Mini somewhat of a tough sell. This though really would be the perfect fit for a content creator looking for a super compact editing rig. And really whatever the use case, the Z370 Desk Mini is very capable, and really I love pretty much everything about it. The build quality is excellent, the feature set is great, and it's really one of the most capable small form factor computers money can buy right now. The only real issue is the price. At $850 US, it's certainly not for everyone. Granted, graphics card pricing is ridiculous at the moment, but even so, you can regularly snag a GTX 1060 6GB for about $400 US. Then a Mini ITX Z370 board costs about $140 US. Quality Mini ITX cases that can support full-size graphics cards start.
Damn it! Another attack. Stay alert.
Greetings. Farewell.
As you can see, the Legion's reach still extends beyond the broken shore.
Far away.
Their agents lurk across Azeroth, threatening to subvert our efforts at the tomb. They are some of the Legion's most powerful champions.
If the plans of these fiends come to fruition, all our efforts, all our sacrifices, will have been for naught. Much has been asked of you in the course of this war, champion. I fear even more is needed. We must enlist your help to hunt these targets down. You may be the only one with any chance of stopping them.
You need something? Excellent. I can think of no one better suited to the task.
Hey,
We stand
and
ready to
well
inform
met,
you about
champion.
all known
Without
threats.
you, one minor detail. If this prophesied leader truly is the God King's heir, Skoval's demise may prove to be a point of contention. So, just to be safe, I wouldn't mention how the would-be God King met his end.
is a pretty good one. You've got a bit of a story going on with the Torin, and then of course an update which will also be going on at the Goblin Speedway now that the place has been flooded. Now it's funny doing a video on this is like Paris, or Elder Forest, or Dunbar Row, wetlands, which, you know, for me, they're requesting just isn't good enough to really get into a big list like this. But again, it's which you've got nostalgia for, or something which I like them. Yeah, you should know it's, I mean, we've got 9 months, and it's the World of Warcraft, it's probably worth just seeing what places are actually like. Now, I did want to mention Starter Zones. Guildmates gets a shout out for doing the whole, you know, like linear story thing actually quite well, as does the first 5 levels of Control. Then Tears of All Blades is also great, especially since it leads into the Horde story at Silverpine Forest, so that's definitely a good one. Now, Elven, Duro, Durotar, honestly, they're kind of boring. Teldrassil is pretty good, and it's probably of interest given what's going to be happening to it in Battle for Azeroth, so I recommend going through that. Another thing that I would recommend doing is, you know, if you're not a Wrath baby and you haven't done this, creating a Death Knight and head straight to Northrend to level 58. You'll be able to do that now, and I think it will be a pretty great sort of cohesive experience, and just a great way to do Northrend. Now, on a similar topic, let's talk about level 58 through 80. So 58 through 80 can either be done in Outland or Northrend. I'd recommend doing Northrend. Yeah, the ideal leveling path for story. It's probably starting off in the Howling Fjord. It's probably my favourite zone of the game overall. It's a great mix of story and atmosphere. After that, head over to Dragonblight. It's got some excellent storylines, even though sadly the Battle for the Undercity was something that has been cut from the game. It's a must play though. Now the Borean Tundra, it's not that great though. The first few quests on the questline with the Sarian, at least from the Alliance, they're quite decent. Anyway, after Dragonblight, I would go to Grizzly Hills for some of the best atmosphere, just a lovely place in the game. Then Shores Basin, I do that, and then I do both Icecrown and Storm Peaks. For me, Northrend is pretty much the best continent overall as a cohesive unit that they've ever made. And you know, when you take the time and increase into account anyway, especially in terms of the art and music, it's large enough that it feels like a really expansive place, more so than the Broken Shore. So yeah, I think you should go there, and Northrend should take you through that whole level bracket. Now, let's talk about 80 through 90. I would recommend actually just doing Hyjal, then Sheer. I like both of these zones quite a lot, and for me, the Sheer's underwater gameplay wasn't really a problem. After that, you could probably skip to home and move straight on to Golden, and then Twilight Highlands. Now, for the mob stuff, I would mainly just go through Jaden Forest because it starts off quite strong. And this actually should be enough to get you through most of the level bracket if you know, my sort of napkin math is right. Past then, it's then just a matter of you doing Warlords, Draenor, and Legion, and you don't really have much choice than you do those, so yeah, fire away. But there you go, that's a whole bunch of excellent zones, hopefully some of them are ones you haven't played, so you can go and enjoy them with the leveling system. Definitely, I'd say if you've been stuck in one faction, it's a good time to try out another one, especially since there's going to be a whole bunch of, I assume, faction exclusive content in Battle for Azeroth. So one thing I would recommend doing is, you know, for Alliance, where you go through the one stuff. So that's up in Stone Talon, and especially with Silverpine and Hillsborough, they're really great stuff. Yeah, start a character of the opposite faction, then when Battle for Azeroth comes out, there's probably going to be a bunch of faction content which you'll be able to enjoy, so it's probably worth doing that now. But there you go, that is my top level picks for World of Warcraft. If you want another level related video, I do have one coming. That is on sort of Ultimate UI for Persian, which I think will be yeah, pretty interesting if this is a video that was up your alley. But that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. At some point in the video, I was rough and really lazy and fraud that I am. This level of guy is probably played, but worry not, is here, and I think the state of leveling is in not so bad a place. I actually saw a post on Reddit from someone who recently capped characters before and after the changes, with both leveling / played of around 20 hours, and the hypothesis is that doing things the new way ends up being a lot more accurate.
This is ready!
But, you know,
Together we will destroy the Burning Legion!
Travel times are massively reduced. The quest experience is always good. Previously, you might have left the quests entirely or upgrade, which is not good. stats are always going to increase the scale, never at the level of zone, so assuming you put your cards right, you can level up decently fast, and that's something that I found to be the case. Now, what issue down the disproportionately affected by this system. This was free. So 1993 mobs were production of 20% health, Warlords and Draenor mobs from 90 to 97, 27.5 to 8.9% production, then level 89 mobs had a 21% production, 90s and 32% production, and 100s 42% production. So this should fix a lot of these issues. Now I was originally going to talk about recruit a friend boosting in this guide, but that recently changed. It now is a 50% boost and does not stack with heirlooms, meaning that it will be impossible to get more than 50% based on a character bar to be. But that said, let's take the guide. Okay, this patch brought down the power of heirlooms, which makes them pretty much on par with gear for your level. This kind of tilts the balance of power onto the enchants. Yeah, you can enchant your heirlooms, but it is sometimes not requirements. Some require professional, others require being a certain level, but there is a wide selection of enchantments that can be applied at any level, meaning that you can be rolling with an enchanted set of heirlooms. Now the enchant scale down, so Warlords 1 will work on one character as well as the stats are just that works with this. Now while we're talking about heirlooms, go purchase the Flight Master's books, the heirloom vendor, and you will unlock flight points on the character, which is kind of essential for what I think is the optimal leveling setup. We'll get into that. Also, to get the heirloom mounts to unlock the collection. So, vendor and buy stuff. This allows you to mount up from number 1, which again is another large speed increase. Another important choice is your spec. Some specs are better than others when it comes to leveling speed due to their burst of DPS. For example, when I was playing a warrior, I found that arms was way faster because of its ability to be charging to a large amount of upfront damage rather than on Furious and more done. Okay, let's talk about the method. This is a really neat video. Basically, these zones that used to have a level range of 10 to 20 are extremely fast to level in. Why? Well, these zones were originally designed for characters who did not have access to a mount. This means that you can go through them extremely quickly, getting massive experience per hour. One of my Twitter followers first let me know about this way back during the PTR, and he was able to get from 43 to 46 in 40 minutes in the Silver Pine Forest. Now you see Silver Pine is, it's designed with short walk distances. You basically move down the zone in short hops with stacks of quests at each hub, and it's extremely efficient. Also balanced with two runners, for example, to Dark Shore and Buffalo Dam, where I was able to easily get level every 15 minutes. Generally speaking, this works for all the lower level areas of the game, and it's really fast. The one place that I would not recommend is the Woodland Barrens, and that's simply because it's got a bunch of slow quests. But the general idea here is to knock out the lower level zones with the match, as they have more simple quests. The areas typically have more easy to geometry and spacing is more quite compact. Also, it's like element on the road scale. The 20s would recommend to get level 20, you get fast transportation, meet a friend with that, a mount with a seat, portal, if that could work for you, or something like that. Or if you want to go and make a cup of tea anyway while your character sits in a flight point. So overall, I found the leveling to be very fast this way, and I can't overstate how much of a difference to the leveling or the scaling system it just kind of is. And I'm sure it might take you a bit more time to clear a zone, but since you don't outlevel them, you have a lot less downtime. It basically feels like, of the overall time that it takes to level a character, all they've really done is shift the balance towards a way of travel time. And managing the travel time, therefore, is extremely important. You don't want to counteract the speed gains of, I've never had zones at that level. And pretty much just use your Hearthstone really well. I found that, as an example, Westfall, it was terrible with bad use of a Hearthstone, but it was actually pretty good when I used my Hearthstone well. Now, the nice thing about those like that is that rare bombs give you around half experience. This is great. It's get the most out of it. It's not a decent scout. You spray that on and then send it to go fight with rare. Now, the ship scene is also one of the other thing here is having speed and intelligence. So, learning to grow large mats of bombs and destroy them, that's what you need to do. And that would break and say my shadow priest is 44 pretty much against anything you've done.
Need help?
Basically, you can put 2 people through the exact same amount of content, and the person who goes in with a speedrunning mindset,
Go
they will
with
come out
honor.
on top by a wide margin. So, go hard, go fast, and it will not take that long. Next, we do bring on the dungeons. So, dungeon running is integrated with this as of this patch. The dungeon mobs and more world mobs lead to dungeons taking quite a bit more time. Boss fights are actually timed right now to be pretty much their full duration, so you see the enemy's full range of mechanics. I think this will certainly get new players.
You got my attention.
Works, but it does slow things down from a speedrunner's perspective. From my experience, chain running dungeons has not been worked over regular questing unless the fresh dungeons have uncompleted quests. For this reason, I would recommend questing the world as the DPS spec while queuing for previously the dungeon and then popped up the dungeon back into your zone. You found, oh no, I got that one zone. And the skill is not a problem anymore. Again, that's downtime. Now, as you level up,
Light
the
be
will
with
get
you.
harder, and I don't think I'd recommend past the core content if speed is your primary concern. Let's talk about level 58 to 80, so rebalancing the questing systems maintenance so that you can do this level bracket in one of 2 continents. For me,
Here.
the Lich King quests have more modern design in terms of layout, so I'd recommend starting with North Rend. So yeah, head over to Calvin Fjord, I would say, then Dragon Light, where's the base, and then from the capital, high school, now I think Soul Dragons are one quite interesting device players and Storm Beast is pretty so for travel time would make it bits let's talk about tonight once again special expansions. My pick would actually happens much like the 160 zones, happens as new zones follow more formats than normal. This means that you get very on backtrack. Now that said, I would actually skip all the movies and House of Jones. There's quite a few cutscenes and getting quests. These are things that slow me down because of per hour. So I was just doing it on the results. For me, that doesn't really sheer. I do my fast, I do my mind, water, and it's all into quests. One of my Twitter followers was 6 and then for Lords of Draenor, this one's
What can I do?
First, there's the 20% experience potion that is available from your garrison. They're account wide, so you can mail them over. After this, it really is quite easy though, assuming you have flying, and since this video is all focused, I'm going to assume you do, just go and focus on picking up treasures and completing bonus objectives. This is a dead fast way to get rewarded levels. You will ideally want to drop a guild standard as you are about to pick up a new treasure as well. Now flight really does make
See you
sense.
soon.
Now, Eluder's Rapid Mine used to exist, and others once they have purchased them, but they're extremely expensive. But the thing is, they don't really drop anymore, so some of the absurd ones where they are level limits, they have 100 and hour to level and true, they just don't really work with the principles of solving. So pretty much you are questing plus treasures plus bonus objectives, and using your flying mount to just get the most out of it. And then as for the Legion content, it's pretty simple. Just level up normally through your quests, do the Legion invasions as they appear. I recommend sort of matching Legion invasions across multiple characters. Now the dungeon quest experience is great, so it's worth doing those once you pick the quests up from the zones. And that's pretty much it. The main takeaway here for me is that you should focus on smaller vanilla zones with higher quest counts and traditionally the ones that have a lower level requirement as they tend to get on faster. Past that, just approach things with a speed-focused mindset, when it comes to your modules and all that stuff, and you know what, you'll be fine. To me, it doesn't seem like it's that much of a focus curve. But that said, it was the case that the old way to into the dungeons, you could do that in a comatose state. You can't do that anymore, so it does take more effort to level up, even if it is the case that it doesn't necessarily take that as so that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video and get some alts leveled up. It's especially useful once the allied races come out. Thanks for watching the video. I hope it helped you out, and yeah, see you next time.
The Legion's fury pales before mine.
The army of the light stands ready. We didn't come this far to falter now.
A swarm of demons threatens the Vindicar once more. Send their fetid souls screaming back to the halls of Antorus.
Burn them down!
Should the Legion ever bring down the Vindicar, Argus will be our grave.
begins here. These prisoners will stain the streets red. And when they're done, the Legion will bring this city crashing to the ground.
Hello. What up? I have no idea. Probably not. For plowing? Yeah. I don't know how that would work because you have to have the paperwork and everything filled out and all that shit. And... Alright, I'll call him. Bye. Hey Dad. I already know the answer to this, but EJ called me and he's like, do they need extra help tonight with the town? I don't know. I mean, he doesn't have anything filled out, so I mean, I'm just calling for shits and giggles. Yeah. You do. Yeah. He needs. Yeah, you can't just like not show up, like Clint or whatever. Yeah. Alright, well, I'll tell him just to fill out an application or whatever.
But I have never seen anything as terrifying as this! An angry gnomish inventor?
Yeah, no, I was telling him, like, I'm like, you gotta have a ride down. He's like, oh, well, I'll get like an Uber, like, there, like an hour before or some shit. I don't know.
Hey there! I was just enjoying
I mean, he's welcome to try,
on
but
the beach when a chilling
I'm not,
sense of dread washed
I can't
over
go out
me.
of my way for him.
Just what are you up to, I wonder?
Wait! I recognize that voice.
Oh, Buttons! What have you done? Hurry, get her back in the cell!
Alright, let me call him back.
Yeah, make fun of her hair. Won't they? But it'll make her sit, Millie. I can explain.
Millie me, Millhouse Jeramis Manastorm. I'm
Hey, yeah, so there'd be nothing tonight because you're not in with the town yet. He said fill out an application and bring it in as soon as you can or whatever for next one if there is any more.
You have no idea what you unleashed upon the world today.
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to take my cleaning hours tomorrow morning because I'm not going to be able to make it because I'm going to be out all night. Yeah.
On a completely
No Uber?
unrelated note,
Actually, I don't know if the Uber is worth it.
have to go take care of something.
Yeah, it's not even worth it. Yeah, you make like $10. Ah, that's $30 to the gym. That's crazy. Ah. Yeah, well, my dad just said, you know, go online to the town website, fill out the free application, and then bring it into the town when you can. And then, you know, they'll have your paper for, like, whenever, like, if they need anybody or whatever. Yeah, because they don't clear it out, they'll have those for years. Yeah, it's just tough because without any of the paperwork and liability and all that shit. Yeah. Yeah, whenever you can. Usually the sooner the better with them. Peace out.
You from blade and claw, but it is useless against this faceless one. With a mere whisper, it can drive a mortal mind to madness. Enough! These prisoners are useless. As the old saying goes, to destroy a floating sphere. I will not see
You can't get away. You are mine. Don't look behind you. And along came a spider. Why would you do this?
Stop fighting. I will defend Argus to my dying breath!
Those fiends capture my people and subject them to heinous rituals. We will no longer be hunted. Help us bring the fight to the Legion. The lives and souls of my people are safer, thanks to you.
We have a target in this area that must be brought down. The choice of weapon is up to you. With results like that, I am confident our victory will come.
Hey! Hey! What are you doing?
Be at peace. The Legion's will be done.
This is the fate you deserve.
Darkest night. You've driven them back. Now press the attack. Well fought, champions. No matter where their filth spreads, we will be there to stop them.
Rona Kai Christo.
You are overdue for lessons. Report to the Hall of Enlightenment for an exam. onslaught. Cut them down. Wretches, the hour of doom is at hand! Now is your chance. Finish this fight!
How to get Flying Legion.
Here's the results from the search.
I sense a foul presence. An evil that seeks to blot out the light. Take up arms and bring down this foe. Cannot win unless we fight for it. You have done your part this day, champion.
Lucky goes and road. Friend of the camels.
Driven them back. Now press the attack. Legion must learn that no matter the realm, we will always defeat them.
Be alert, Huntmaster. We do not know what dangers lurk nearby.
My faith is my shield.
The Legion will stop at nothing to destroy our world.
Shall we get down to business? I foresee a mutually beneficial transaction.
May I be of service? Be well.
King's honor. Light bless you.
Wow.
Good day to you. See you around. You need something? Sage about it.
Everything has a price. Shurelaron.
What can I do for you? Be
Looking
careful.
for something specific? See you around.
What's on your mind?
I will leave but cinders.
Home. I almost missed it.
Trying to establish new structures down in the Shattered Fields. Disrupt their plans and help our soldiers.
Our forces have engaged the Legion on the ground floor. We must place the Aegis in the tower before our losses grow insurmountable.
Our guests of honor have finally arrived. I look forward to ripping the claws from your scalp, betrayer.
There is nowhere you can flee that I cannot reach you, demon!
Illidan! Curse that impetuous demon hunter! I will continue the hunt for his powerful.
If you make a word.
You could elude me, Illidan. Run again, and I'll shackle you like the beast you are.
Posture if you must, Maev. But for now, do what you do best and follow me.
We've lost. The Legion broke our lines. They pushed us out of the tomb. You're all that stands between them and the Aegis. They are coming!
Let them come. Maev and I will hold them on the stairs below.
Forgive me if my glaive finds your heart, Illidan. With so many demons about, it's hard to distinguish you from the rest of this filth.
Your flesh will burn! To the Legion!
I will hold the skies. See to the Aegis.
Alone at last. Surrender the shield, and I will grant you a quick death.
My former master. Revenge is at hand. Fight! Fight, you pathetic imps!
What is this?
The Guardian.
In ages past, this shield defended the young world soul against madness and corruption. Today, it serves those who fight for Azeroth. I am Aegrin, Guardian of Tirisfal. I left behind this echo of my power as a safeguard. in the event that the wards I put in place to protect the tomb failed. Indeed, I sense that the Master of the Burning Legion now schemes to claim his prize. Yet there is still hope. By anchoring the pillars of creation in the halls below, you will restore my wards and push back against the invaders. Then you must venture into the depths of the tomb and use the Eye of Aman'Thul to eradicate the Fellstorm and sever the Legion's link to Azeroth. But the pillars alone cannot bring victory. Only a united army founded on strength and courage can conquer the Legion. When you and your allies are prepared for the final battle, my echo will return
trying
to
to
aid
establish
you.
new structures
The
down in
fate
the
of
Shattered
Azeroth
Fields.
rests
Disrupt
in
their
your
plans and help our soldiers.
Another demon champion boasts and blusters. Silence its cacophony. Them reeling. Well fought.
You dare set foot in our world?
Make it quick.
Greetings. Hearken on board. You are doomed!
That should keep the enemy from sending in more reinforcements.
You have seen but a fraction of our might.
them feel your fury.
Do you have something to report? Be on your guard.
In darkest night, we still shine with hope. Have faith in the light.
Our time is now, hero. We will endure. Once you've reached the Alcatraz, I will remain in contact.
How may I be of service? Welcome, welcome. I am looking forward to our negotiation.
Come, speak with me. High Inquisitor Ralgar was imprisoned deep inside the Alcatraz. The Legion is already here, so be careful. The Legion has opened portals to invade the Alcatraz. Shut them down before you find yourself outflanked.
Our mistress will have freed the High Inquisitor by now. You dead. Zaraketh's void magic still lingers here.
Moments ahead of us. Take the portal back here, and I will figure out where the Inquisitor has gone. I lend you my strength. The Vindicar is at your disposal. Our time is now, hero.
merciful.
The source of Raudar's immortality is gone. At long last, you can kill him and retrieve the fell heart of Argus.
I was so close! You are not worthy to stop me, worms! Many have tried to kill me. They are all. You think you're winning? I am immortal! I will leave but cinders. What is it? The Legion will pay. We will endure.
Fate avoids.
I lend you my strength. May the Legion fall before you.
Hi. Safe travels.
It's too far away.
Be to work at 3 a.m.
I'm gonna be at work at 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
Okay.
So I'll try to get some rest around 10 o'clock tonight. I'll probably be up all night.
Definitely, will be. Hello. What's up?
I'm hungry.
You are?
Yes.
Why?
waste my time, lesser creature.
I need a target. I need to target something. I need a target. I don't have a target.
What? Hello? Hey. Why do you wanna beat people up?
King's honor, friend.
This girl took a picture of me in class
Yeah?
who has like no part of like me and like Lauren and Sarah like hating each other.
Well
But, you know,
known.
like she wants to stick her nose in like everyone's business.
Light choice.
Even though she's like fully aware she'll be like she will get her like ass beat when she's frail.
You're?
And so she took a picture of me, sent it in a group chat, whatever. And then during lunch, Lauren and Sarah like walked past me and then they said some stupid shit. And I was like, okay, like I've had enough. Like you're either gonna fucking hit me or you're just gonna keep talking shit.
What did they say?
And they're like, can't wait to fucking fight her. Like what the fuck? I was like, oh my god.
Wow.
I'm just filling up my fucking water with my friend and you're getting angry because you're walking by me and your fucking psycho friends taking pictures of me. Like holy shit.
That's really weird.
Like you guys really have nothing to do other than get yourselves all mad for no fucking reason and get me mad for no reason.
That's really stupid.
It's so stupid, and I want to buy like fucking brass knuckles so when they do want to try to fight me, they'll be a little fucking understand why they didn't want to in the first place.
Fight them. Go fight them. Mark.
I'm hungry. And I want coffee, and I'm just so hungry, but I ate like shit at school. Well, I actually did.
Oh, there's coffee left, I think.
What? What?
There's coffee, I think.
Today I had like a small handful of french fries, very small, like the thick ones too, like the good ones. And I had nachos with rice. And that was it.
Sick.
I didn't want to have nachos, but I didn't really have another fucking grilled chicken Caesars. Not grilled chicken, chicken. It was breaded chicken.
Branded shit.
I mean, I'll probably shut up having it, but Didn't want the same one again.
So you want to go to the gym?
Yeah, if you want to know with you.
I gotta put my shoes on.
I am listening.
I need to get changed.
Good luck, Fred.
Oh, you can go get changed if you want.
When are we going?
As soon as you're ready, is.
I'm always fucking ready.
As soon as you put your clothes on and shit.
Yeah, I was actually literally gonna fight though today, but I was like, I'm gonna go home and go to the gym and then I'm gonna feel better, so I'm fine.
I hear that.
And Marley was like, Alicia, if you fight anyone, you're gonna get your ass put in jail. Because we all know what you're gonna do. And I was like, so you ate my underwear that I was saving so I could wear it tonight.
Light be with you.
My underwear,
Be careful.
padlock, ate it. I needed that.
Greetings. Till next time.
I need tampons.
Different.
I'm out of tampons.
Burger.
The fate of our world hangs in the balance. Welcome, champion. Let's get this assault underway, shall we? We will divide our forces to hit them from all sides at once. Knowledge is power, but using it wisely is the key. You are our last, best hope. There is much to be done. Where you lead, we will follow. Ah, there you are, champion. I was worried I might have activated the bombs a tad prematurely.
We have won this day, but a grave threat still looms before us. The Legion's master is yet to play his hand.
Hail and well met, champion. Trust in yourself, champion.
Must unite against the Legion.
The Wardens are watching.
You wanna go outside? Like what? I don't know.
What do you want to do?
Cardio. My arm hurts. I did legs the other day.
You do legs without me.
Because I can't. It's the only way I know how to do things.
It's fucking cold. That's why I don't like these. Ah!
Don't die. What? Where the fuck am I going? On the normal. She doesn't know how to not destroy things. So you ready to go? Yeah.